Sterling Brown was born in 1901 on May 1st in Washington, D.C. He was born into a large family and was the sixth child of Adelaide Allen and Sterling Nelson Brown. His father, Sterling Nelson, was a former slave but was very well educated and a school professor. His mother, Adelaide, was also well educated and was a school teacher. Sterling followed the footsteps of his father and attended Williams College, where he won an award for an essay he had wrote. He later went to graduate with cum laude in Phi Beta Kappa in 1922. In 1923, Sterling went on to get his master's degree at Harvard University and was soon employed at Virginia Seminary College as a teacher. He taught there until 1926. At that time, he acquired a teaching job at Howard University. Sterling went on to write and publish his first book in 1932. The book was named Southern Road. Sterling had written his second book, but had troubles finding someone to publish his work because of the Great Depression. During this period of his life, Sterling took time to write essays and really focus on his career as a teacher. It was not until 1975 that he actually got to publish his second verse of poetry called The Last Ride of Wild Bill. This would be his last publication before he died in 1989 at the age of 88 years old. His works are now regarded as a huge part of the Harlem Renaissance because they were heavily influenced by racial struggles in America, jazz, the blues, and spiritual songs. A good example of his writing style would be his poem, Strongman. This poem is the one I have chosen to read. Here's Strongman by Sterling Brown. They dragged you from your homeland. They chained you in coffles. They huddled you spoon-fashion in filthy hatches. They sold you to give a few gentlemen ease. They broke you in like oxen. They scourged you, they branded you, they made you your woman breeders. They swelled your numbers. They taught you the religion they disgraced. You sang, keep a inching along like a po-inch worm. You sang, by and by, I'm gonna lay down this heavy load. You sang, walk together, chillin', don't you get weary. The strong men keep a-comin' on, the strong men get stronger. They point with pride to the roads you built for them. They ride in comfort over the rails you laid for them. They put hammers in your hand and said, drive so much before sundown. You sang, ain't no hammer in this land. Strikes like mine, baby, strikes like mine. They cooped you in their kitchens. They penned you in their factories. They gave you the jobs that they were too good for. They tried to guarantee happiness to themselves by shunting dirt and misery to you. You sang, me and my baby gon' shine, shine. Me and my baby gon' shine. Strong men keep a-comin' on, the strong men get stronger. They bought off some of your leaders. You stumbled as a blind man will. They coaxed you, unwantedly soft-voiced. You followed away, then laughed as usual. They heard the laugh and wondered, uncomfortable, and admitting a deep terror. The strong men keep a-comin' on, getting stronger. What, from the slums, where they have hemmed you? What, from the tiny huts? They could not keep from you. What reaches them, making them ill at ease, fearful? Today they shout prohibition at you. Thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that, reserved for whites only. You laugh. One thing they cannot prohibit, the strong men coming on, the strong men getting stronger, strong men stronger. This poem was written in prose and spans the times of slavery to people fighting for the rights of African Americans. Lines 1 through 10 start with the word they, which is referring to white people, and it also says you, which is referring to the African Americans. The first simile I found being used was in the line, they broke you in like oxen. This simile compares the slaves and African Americans to oxen because they were being used to do the more grueling, demoralizing jobs rather than the whites. Another simile states, like a po-inch worm, which compares the struggle the slaves and African Americans endured to a slow-moving pace like that of a worm. The last line where a simile is used is when it says, you stumbled as a blind man will, showing how the slaves and African Americans were taking the unfair treatment and not noticing it, almost as if they were blind to the situation. The tone of the poem shifts, usually when it says you sang, from a serious tone to an encouraging tone. Lines 1 through 10 have the serious tone, while lines 12 through 19 have encouraging tone. This pattern consists throughout the entire poem. Repetition is also being used where it says, "The strong men keep a-comin' on, the strong men get stronger," because this line shows up multiple times in the poem. When saying the line, it becomes a chant. It makes the poem move, and it drives his message. The diction of the poem gives it authenticity, because most of the words were spelt like they sounded, and punctuation is not used properly. It gives off the sense that the person narrating the poem is an uneducated person, and in this case, a slave or a poor African American during the early civil rights movements. If the story did not use this kind of diction, the poem would not sound as authentic, and nor would it set the mood, which is intensive, because it drives a message that they will keep getting stronger. I chose this poem because of its intense mood and because of how he showed them push forward even through their struggles. In my opinion, Sterling wrote this poem to show the dark and unjust history of his race. I think this because the poem moves from slavery to around the time he wrote this, which was when African Americans were not treated as equals. I also think that he wrote this poem to show how African Americans persevered despite what they were going through.